Hey everyone, welcome to Learn DAX channel. My name is Siddesh, and in the previous video we had calculated the overall cumulative sales amount for the entire data set starting from Jan 2020 till December 2021. However, if you want the user to have the flexibility to choose the end date in case of the cumulative sales amount and to also have the flexibility to choose the start date for the cumulative sales amount, in that case you will have to create a new measure which we're going to try and implement in this particular video. So for example, right now this particular table is showing me the cumulative sales right from Jan 2020 till the month of December 2021. But what if the user wants to see cumulative sales in a card which starts from, let's say, August 2021 till October 2021? Now, if you're watching this for the first time, you might not follow why this would be August 2021. Well, this essentially is my parameter which goes back in time by as many number of months as I would have defined in my 1 to 12. So for example, if I choose 1 here, it's going to go back 1 month in time, giving us September, because the selection in this slicer is the basis for going back as many number of months. So if I choose 1, it is going to go to September. If I choose 2, it's going to go to August. And if I choose 3, it's going to go to July. So basically what we are trying to achieve here is to calculate the cumulative sales from the month of August till the month of October. And we are going to create a custom DAX for the same. So in order to explain how we're going to implement this, let's get back to the Excel sheet that we had used in the previous video. By the way, if you haven't watched the previous video, I would highly recommend you to watch it because that lays the foundation for the logic that we're going to implement, and it builds upon the very logic. However, if you're watching this video for the first time, I'd still recommend to continue with this video and then learn something from this video and then go back and watch my previous video. I will leave the link in the description. So if I head back to the Excel sheet, and as per the condition, I want to calculate the accumulated sales from the month of August till the month of October, which in this case would disregard the month of July. So my DAX should be such that it disregards any dates that contains dates which are anywhere before August 2021 and any dates which are after October 2021. So if I try to create a pseudocode, in this case, it would be such that the start date should exceed July 2021, and at the same time my end date should be less than or equal to October 2021. So we're going to try to use this logic and then try to create the tax. Now, instead of creating the same thing from scratch, I can take the reference of the cumulative amount that we had used in the previous video. So if I go to the sales cumulative measure, if I just copy this, because we're going to use the same logic sort of to build our solution. So I'll copy this, I'll paste this, and let's say I create a variable and I call it start date. So start date would be my selected value from my number of months parameter. Here we go, number of months. I will just create this variable, I'll not return it. I'll call this sales amount. I will return this start date and let's see what we get. Okay, I'll have to choose a different measure. Sales cumulative dynamic. So once I pull this onto the canvas, convert it to a card, it's giving me 2 as the value, obviously, because the selection does not include the date, it just includes 2. We have to convert that to a date. So what we're going to do is we are going to use the DateAdd function. I've used this function in my previous video, and I've also created a video on the same. I will leave the link of both the videos in the description. You can check them out. So I need a set of dates, which will be date, year, month, and I would want to go back by, let's see how many intervals If I choose minus this, so the second argument is the number of intervals that you would want to traverse back, which in this case, if I say 2 months, it is going to traverse back by 2 months, giving us August. So let's see if we get the correct value, because now the chosen this date here is going to be October 2021. Minus sign says that traverse back in the backward direction and not in the forward direction. And this argument says that go back in terms of months. So we can have the flexibility to choose day, month, year, or quarter. We are choosing month. Now let's hit enter and let's just check what you are getting as the date. So we are correctly getting the date as the 1st of August 2021, which is the start date in our particular problem. Now I will use the end date because we need two dates, right? If I go back to my notepad, this is the kind of logic that we are trying to implement. The start date should be greater than July 2021 and end date should be less than or equal to October 2021. So I will use the selected value function and it will be date, year, month. Let's try and return this as well so we can verify if the end date is correct. This should give me October. Yeah, the month was 1/10/2021 is giving me the month of October. So now we want to create this logic such that my date, year, month should exceed. My mouse is somehow acting weird. Okay, so it should exceed or greater than equal to my start date and my date, my year, month should be less than or equal to my end date. And I will return the sales amount, the variable sales amount, and that should give me the correct solution. So now what this is telling me is that from August 2021 till October 2021, the cumulative sales are 248 million. So let's do a quick check if the solution is correct or not. I'll quickly open my calculator. The sales for August are not the cumulative sales. Actual sales are 96.52 million. Plus I have October as 80.38 million. Plus I have for October 2021 as 71.10 million, which is giving us 248 million, which is the correct answer. So I can play around with, let's say I choose December 2021 and I choose number of months as 2, essentially giving me 3 months of data, which is October, November, and December. Because please be careful of the fact that if I go back by 1 month, it is going to consider November. So even though it is selecting 2, it might sound a bit confusing that we are getting 3 months of cumulative data upon selecting 2, because when we choose 1, it's going back by 1 month. When we choose 2, it's going back by 2 months. And since we are using the less than or equal to condition, it is giving me the sales until the month of December. If, however, you want the cumulative sales not up to December but only until December, which would not include the data for December, you would need a very slight tweak to the formula in which instead of using less than or equal to sign, you would just use less than sign, which would just give you the dates for the 2 months. For example, in this case, if I choose less than sign, and in that case, I would get the cumulative sales for October and November, which I can verify using this calculator, which would be 71.1 plus 78.55, giving me 149.65, which is something that we are also getting in the DAX measure. So yes, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you found value from this video, and if you haven't if you haven't understood this concept as thoroughly, I would really recommend to watch this video again and also watch my earlier video again. If you are new to the DateAdd function, I would highly recommend you to watch the DateAdd video that I've created. I will leave the link in the description. And yeah, this brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching and happy learning.